Hello everybody, I've often talked about how I secure my battery packs, my Ultrasabers, stunt sabers, to kind of help alleviate how the battery pack moves around. This one's actually not too bad, but in some of the longer hilts, the battery pack has a lot of room to slide around. But this one isn't too much of an issue, but still, it's distracting. And I like to deal with that. Now, first thing I did was I removed the blade, put in a blade plug. I see you. And the second thing is I have my trusty knife, a very trusty knife, something that's nice and secure, very sharp. This was a gift. And the third thing, just some like packing foam. Usually I like this thin stuff. I don't really use bubble wrap. And I've got plenty of this from, all the sabers that I've received. But I imagine you can probably buy this in a store or a packing store, the post office, FedEx, probably multiple places. But mostly you'll get this in all kinds of packaging. And what I generally do, and this isn't the end-all be-all solution. This is just really simple. I have so many of these damn stunt sabers that, putting chassis in them and whatnot would be highly inconvenient. So you get this out. And what I do is I just kind of like shove this as far as it'll go. And in this instance, you can see how far that's in there. And I shove it right up against the, the wiring and everything. It's not going to get damaged. And all this, there's no like heat-bearing electronics in here. There's nothing that's going to melt unless a battery explodes, in which case you're pretty much, done for anyway. So don't worry about heat. It's not really going to, the batteries aren't going to interact with the foam. And, you've got enough of a chassis in here that the batteries are kind of protected. And I'm very fortunate that this pack came with a little whatever, Velcro, to secure the blades in. That isn't always the case. So anyway, I get this in here as far as it wants to go. And I just kind of estimate the distance between the end of the battery pack to about here. And I don't really worry too much about whether or not the pommel's going to fit, because I just kind of screw it in and I just squish everything in as possible to get it really, really secured. So looks like I've got about maybe 2 inches here. So I'll take my foam and I'll just kind of put it against the end, and I'll sort of estimate where the end is. So I've got about, maybe to about there. And this stuff cuts really easily. Obviously, you want to be careful. Don't cut yourself. And I'll just cut myself a decent length, because I'll show you why. And I'm kind of butchering the cutting process. Anyway, it's not perfect, but it doesn't really have to be perfect. It's just a down and dirty, easy solution. So now that I have my little bit of foam here, I'll just kind of roll it, and I'll roll it kind of tightly. And I will insert that in here. You can see it's sticking out a bit. That's fine. It may be sticking out a bit too much. If that happens, what you can do is you can actually take this and you can sort of double it up, and then you can roll it up that way. But in this case, I'm just going to actually I might actually take a little bit of this off. It's a little bit hard to cut once it's been cut, unless you have a cutting board. So I'm not going to worry about it too much. One thing I am going to do is I'm just going to check the wires again real quick to make sure things aren't too... They only really have the one wire running from there. So, it's actually a pretty efficient system. And sometimes you can sort of do this. You can kind of twist it and get it to fit in there as much as possible. And I've actually just earned myself a little bit of extra space. So once you do that, you just put your pommel in there and carefully secure it. There will be some resistance, that's fine. And voila, it still works. And if you're concerned about being able to gain access to everything, because it's a little bit too long for what you need, it's easy to grab and pull out, and you can still gain access to your little chassis in there. And if you don't like the foam just kind of like floating around in there, you can actually secure it with tape or whatnot. Again, there's nothing that's heat. There's nothing that generates heat in there, so it shouldn't be an issue. The barriers, to the best of my knowledge, don't really need to breathe or anything like that, so yeah, probably won't be an issue. And there you go. That won't be a problem again. The other thing is, with the LEDs, since they don't use LED retention screws, when I insert the battery, when I insert the blade, when I insert the blade into the blade holder, I kind of secure it against my stomach. There's plenty of stomach. And I will put as much pressure against the LED as I can before I secure the blade. That kind of keeps the LED from flopping around a bit. So what you're trying to do is get rid of all the distractions, all the floppiness, and all the things that make noise, so yeah. So that's how I do that with all my stunt sabers, and for me this works really well until a better solution comes along. Maybe you're gonna have someone do an install, or you do an install yourself, and then you'll be drilling retention screws all over the place to kind of deal with these problems. But in a pinch, this is a good solution, and it works for me. So hopefully that is some helpful information, and yeah, thanks for watching. You guys have a good evening, and I'll see you next time. Take care now. Bye.